Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call, hello, Imla, Allahayanawa, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Okay. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash, man. Hey, Shalom. This brother I now back with another lesson, Lord willing, is edifying. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Okay, the house of David. Right. Today, just want to get into this concept of, equality, and we all the same under, God's green earth, so to speak. That's a concept that, these Christians and, these people of the world, use to paint the picture like there's no order of hierarchy, when clearly the scriptures speak about order of hierarchy, not only in the kingdom, but on this side too. There's a setup of hierarchy within families. There's setup of hierarchy in, different peoples on this earth. There's even setup of hierarchy among sexes, among animals, among politicians and leaders and, so forth and so on, because the Lord is a Lord of order, not of chaos. And if there's no hierarchy, there will be no order, So order is set up within realms to bring order. Hierarchy is set up within realms to bring order, man. That's why you have rulers, you have kings, and, governors and so forth and so on, to bring order, man. So we're just going to get into that concept and, Lord willing, is edifying. I pray it's edifying. I got this little, rebuttal from AI on Google. Okay, it says, where did the concept of we all bleed the same come from? It says the concept that we all bleed the same has roots in historical arguments against discriminatory heresies, hierarchies, with the modern phrase becoming a popular expression for human equality. And this is what these Christians always push, like all people are equal. This is the fake agenda that even Babylon the Great has championed for its entire short existence of rulership. They preach democracy, freedom for everybody, to do as they will and practice whatever religion and practice whatever sexual orientation and freedom of speech, and everybody can give their little 2 cents and whatever else. But the scriptures speak differently. There's an order according to scriptures, and the order starts with the Most High and then his son. Okay, and then King David, then the 12 apostles, then the 144, then the 1/3, and then the rest of the people on this planet. There's an order with the man, the woman, the children. So without that order that Yahweh Hashem has set up, is disorder. And the Lord is not the order of confusion. The Lord, he's not the God of confusion. Okay. but of love, power, and a sound mind. And to have order, you have to have a sound mind. To rule, you have to have a sound mind. A sound mind can judge righteously, you see, and not in fury. Like you have Nero, Trump, ruling right now. Not in draconian law, but righteous law. And some of the laws in the scriptures may seem draconian, but there's a righteous order to it, and the Lord will allow those rules, the commandments, when you put those commandments into practice. There's something spiritual that happened with those commandments being followed. Okay, it said, choose this day whom you shall serve. And from those commandments, life comes. You have more life and life abundantly with those commandments. You choose not to follow the commandments, right? And you have what we have now. Wickedness is ruling now. Lies are being pushed. Okay, adultery is being pushed. Abominations are being pushed. Witchcraft is being pushed. Okay, that's what's in the forefront now. Okay, it says, with the modern phrase becoming a popular expression for humanity, human equality, this is a counterpoint to the outdated pseudo-scientific idea that aristocracy or certain races were superior due to having blue blood. Now, the crazy thing is they're talking about us, these us being the true Hebrew Israelites, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, which make up of the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, so-called Native American Indians. That's who they call the aristocracy, that certain races were superior due to having blue blood. So let's get into this blue blood thing, right? It says the notion of blue blood, the Spanish term sangre azul, I guess sangre meaning blood, azul meaning blue, originated in the medieval Spain to distinguish old Christian noble families from Jewish and Moorish converts. Okay, the phrase suggests that the nobles had bluer veins because their lighter, untanned skin revealed the color more clearly, implying a blue lineage free from manual labor and intermingling with darker skinned people. See, Esau think he's slick, man. Look at what Esau got. I'm gonna read this thing again, man, and this is through the spirit. I didn't even read this far down. I kind of just read the first couple lines of the first paragraph, and I didn't really even get into this. But look at what it's saying. The notion of blue blood, right? The Spanish term for sangre azul originated in medieval Spain to distinguish old Christian noble families, okay, from Jewish and Moorish converts. Now, you would think, if you know the history of Spain, you know that at one point the Jews and the Moors are the same people. They're so-called Negroes, because the Southern Kingdom were called Jews, okay, Yahawada, okay, or what, Yahawadim, Yahawadyum, Jews, okay, with dark, so-called dark skinned people, Negroes, if you will, okay, which the Southern tribe consisted of, you know, the American Negroes, the Caribbean Negro, and the Haitian Negro. All, you know, Negro features and dark skin and woolly hair and so forth and so on. You know, they were all dark skinned, right? Which, if the one they ignorantly called Christ came back today, he would look like a Negro of Judah, of Yahawada, you see. So this is the beginning where it says medieval Spain. This is probably talking about the time period where Esau started coming into power and started discriminating, or you know, with the Spanish Inquisition, okay, forcing the Jews, the real Jews of Yahawada, to convert to Christianity. And if they didn't, they was going to be exiled, okay, which a lot of them did get exiled. And even the ones that stayed wasn't allowed to practice practice their beliefs. They wasn't allowed to serve the Most High like they supposed to. And if they got caught, they would be possibly executed or exiled. Okay. Let's get into it though. It says the phrase suggested that nobles have bluer veins because their lighter, untanned skin revealed the color more clearly. And why they telling on themselves right there, because Esau's skin is light, right? And you could actually see his pigment don't appear. You can see through his skin. Wasted away is he, Ishashua. That's who they talking about right there. Because most Negroes, you can't really see the color of their veins through their skin, you know, because they're dark. You know, it says untanned skin revealed the color more clearly, implying a pure lineage free from manual labor and intermingling with darker skinned people, with the real Jews, okay, who are dark skinned. This idea persisted and evolved into the English concept of having blue blood, denoting noble or aristocratic heritage. Okay, it says biological refutation. Okay, and I'll just say this too. It's not about skin color or about race, because the scriptures clearly states that once you're Israelite and your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it don't matter what color or how you look, your phenotype. You can have the darkest Negro and he may be not of Israelite descent, because his seed line doesn't go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in that order. Okay. But you can have someone that a man that looks like a Caucasian, but his seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he is an Israelite. So it's not by color of skin. This is not a race thing. Okay. It says biological refutation. As science advanced, it became more commonly known that all humans' blood is red when oxygenated. The veins only appear blue or green due to the way light penetrates the skin. And, you know, Ishashwa having little to no pigment, okay, that's his lot. His veins can be seen through his skin because his skin has little to no pigment. He's pasty white, and his skin may appear, his veins may appear blue or green according to how light he is. He is a shade of red, pink, if you will. Okay. It says this biological fact serves as the direct scientific rebuttal to the social myth of blue blood. You see? And let me see what else there is. I'm not really gonna get into the rest of this shit. But the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai tells you in the scriptures that all men are not created equal. First of all, there were two creations, okay, when it comes to man. Okay. Let me see if I can get that real quick. Okay, so this is Genesis 1:27. It says, I'm going to start at 26. It says, and the Most High said, let us, the Alahayim, okay, the gods. That's what that word God means, the Alahayim, the powers, which, when you go into that word, it's really talking about, Yahweh Shai and the angels and the 144, those that were with him in the beginning, creating everything that you see. Okay. It says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the Alahayim, and just so you don't think I'm making it up, that word God, okay, it says Elohim, but we know, okay, the true Lashawan Kadash, the true Hebrew, okay, the heavenly tongue, had no vowels besides A and I. And, that word is supposed to be Alahayim, meaning powers, plural. See, if you look right there, it says plural, rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods with a small g. Okay. So that's who he's talking about. Okay. Not the Most High himself, which the Most High gave the blueprint. Okay. But the Alahayim is the one that actually created everything according to the Most High's blueprint. Okay, let's go back. It says, and God blessed them. No, 27. So God created man, the gods, the powers created man in their own image. Okay. In the image of Alahayim, the gods, created he them, male and female created he them, right? And the Most High said, the Elohim blessed them and said, the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. Okay, so that's one creation, which that creation is talking about all mankind. Okay, it's talking about all mankind. Then there's another creation, okay, of man, a different kind of man. Okay, so Genesis 2 and 15, I mean, Slaki, 2 and 7, and it says, and the Lord power formed man out of the dust of the ground. Okay, and that is a metaphor for being, brutish. Okay, that's a metaphor for being brutish, like, not having the law, statutes, commandments makes a man brutish, like a beast. It says, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. What is the breath of life? The Ruach HaKodesh, the spirit. John 6 and 63. It is I believe it's John 6 and 63. It says this is the flesh profit of nothing, is the spirit that gives life. The spirit, the knowledge and understanding of this truth. Okay, the true understanding of the Most High, to follow his commandments, makes you a living soul, like it says right here. And breathe into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Lord power planted a garden eastward in Eden, okay, Aidan, paradise, eastward, meaning towards Jerusalem. And there he put man, whom he had formed out of the ground, made the Lord God to grow every tree. Okay, I'm gonna skip down. It says, verse 15, and the Lord power took the man and put him into the garden of Eden, or Aidan, paradise, to dress it and to keep it. Okay, to serve the Most High, basically. He's a husbandman, to take care of that pleasant plant, if you will. Okay, the Lord calls Israel pleasant plant. Okay, and Adam, if you will, was the first of his kind, meaning a prophet, or a keeper of the Lord's sheep, so to speak, the Lord's people, that they give direction to him, to the people that's underneath Adam. Okay, so there's 3 classifications of men: the sons of man, okay, which are the sons of the other nations, except Esau, which Esau is the sons of the wicked. Okay, and then the last classification is the sons of the Most High, okay, which are the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, right? Okay, because there's a lineage that starts from Adam, and you could trace it all the way down to Yahweh Shai, and it tells you each of the chosen line, okay, from each of the men that were chosen. For instance, Abraham was a chosen line, okay, because Abraham had other brothers. 2 brothers, Terah and Aram, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. One of them died, and the other one, is that other line, is where you get Rebecca and them from. Okay, so then it went down to Isaac, and from Isaac it went to Jacob. So Isaac had brothers, you know. Abraham had what, 8 sons, I believe. You know, he had Isaac, then he had Ishmael, and then 6 more with Keturah. So you don't see none of them even really being mentioned as the chosen seed line. Okay, and then it passed down to Jacob, and from Jacob the 12 patriarchs. And out of the 12 patriarchs, the Lord chose the line of Judah to bring forth the Lord and King David. You see, so, and Solomon, which Solomon is the Lord, but you know, that's another subject for another time. So even within the Israelites, men are not created equal. There's no equality, so to speak, among Israelites. You know, there's certain men that were prophets among Israel, and there's certain men that was just regular men. You know, now the Lord loves, you know, all of Israel, but not on this side. Okay. Wow, this lesson is getting a little long, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up, and maybe, you know, I might have to do a part 2 on this, because it's going way longer than I thought. But you know, just touching on it, you know, we don't, even if we all bleed red, that don't make us equal in the Lord's eyes. So Lord willing, this is the first part of it, and I'm going to continue, Lord willing, to expound on it as best as I can. Hopefully it was edifying. Until next time, I say shalom.